Wow, it really is coming down this morning. The forecast says rain all day. I think this is a perfect opportunity to stay home and listen to some records. Hello and welcome to My Own Devices. I've recently asked my wife why she doesn't take much interest in home audio, and she told me very bluntly she's far too sensible and much prefers quiet pursuits. Well, fair enough. This channel features vintage and modern audio gear, always seeking value and synergy. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. To follow up on my Do I Have Too Many Turntables video, here's an update. I decided to sell the Philips, the Technics SL1100A, the 1300, and one of my 1200 Mark IIs, and use the funds to buy something a bit higher end. After spending a couple of weeks checking out the local listings, I spotted a Craigslist ad for a Linn Sondek LP12, less than an hour away. The seller was asking a fairly average price for it, but I decided to give it a shot and give him kind of a low-ball offer for it. And to my surprise, he immediately accepted it. Then I became a little suspicious. Is there something wrong with this turntable? Anyway, I drove to his house the next day and we met in his garage. And the Linn was resting on a folding table ready for me to scrutinize. And to my delight, it was pristine, fully functional, and complete. The only issue was that the budget Linn cartridge on it had a broken stylus. The seller told me that his father was a longtime audiophile who had passed away at age 99 just a few months ago. And he didn't know that much about hi-fi gear, but he did a little research on its value and listed it. He just wanted to clear it out of his garage. Those are my favorite words when buying vintage gear. I just want it out of here. You're probably going to get a good deal when a seller says something like that. Here it is, the Linn Sondek LP12. Now, this one is date stamped March 1988 on the inside, and it has a fantastic black Linn iTalk arm on it, and I'm very pleased with my purchase. This unit is totally stock, and it's in very nice shape with little signs of visible wear. It's obvious the previous owner was very careful with it. This model turntable has been in continuous production since 1973, and if I wanted to spend the money, I could replace and upgrade every part of this vintage unit with its modern equivalent. I do not believe that is possible with any other hi-fi component made today. I watched a video by a Linn representative giving a demonstration of the LP12 to some people, and he said that during the factory tours at Linn, they pass around one of these iTalk arms to visitors and challenge them to try to bend it with their bare hands. And over the years, no one has been able to do it. And that's pretty amazing if it's true. Now, these LP12 turntables are very upgradable with a plethora of modifications and component updates from Linn and third-party vendors. But most of the vendors are based in the UK, and the upgrades can get pretty spendy. As you know, recorded music is available to us in two basic formats, analog and digital. Analog recordings have been around since the days of Edison's wax cylinders and those shellac 78 RPM records. The rise of the vinyl 33 and 45 RPM records during the 1950s didn't slow down until the popularity of cassette tapes exploded in the late 70s and the 1980s. Digital recording started around the late 1970s and went mainstream when CDs and CD players entered the market around 1982. The World Wide Web and the rise of downloadable digital files in the late 1990s and early 2000s pretty much killed off analog records and tapes for the vast majority of the public. Now, the unexpected and strong reemergence of analog recording on vinyl records over the past decade has created a really vibrant new market for manufacturers to sell turntables and turntable peripherals to young people just discovering the joys of vinyl records and older folks like me getting back into them. And speaking of turntable peripherals, Phono preamps would certainly be considered one of those. And you know I've done a few Phono preamp videos over the past few months, and here comes yet another one. But I'm going to tell you about a Phono preamp that's significantly different than the types you're probably familiar with. I'm going to show you a product that you may not be familiar with, a device that combines analog and digital music reproduction in a rather unique manner. When I first became aware of this device a few months ago and started learning about it, I became extremely intrigued by its possibilities. I reached out to Shannon Parks, the owner and chief engineer at Parks Audio, and I asked him if I could try out and evaluate their product called the Puffin. He promptly replied and actually sent me a unit to try out and put through its paces. What is a Puffin? Well, it's a Phono preamp. Okay, there's lots of those around. Big deal, right? Well, Parks Audio is a small company that appears to only make one type of product, Phono preamps. And before the Puffin, there was the Budgie, a popular tube Phono preamp. That model was retired and replaced with the Puffin a couple of years ago. What the Puffin does, it takes the analog signal from your turntable and immediately digitizes it with an A to D converter. That's right, digital. When an audio signal is in the digital domain, then it really opens things up to a universe of possibilities. And there's really no limit as to what can be done with it. I suppose the only limits are your imagination and engineering skills. All right, what we have here is the Parks Audio Puffin. It's a very unusual design. It really reminds me of like a effects pedal for a guitar. It's got this like carbon fiber kind of texture on top. Here's a display, which is red. Here's the on-off switch. This is the where you can scroll through the various menu items to select, and use this button to select. And then after you select it, you change it by rotating the knob. Now everything plugs in the top surface here, which is kind of odd to me. You've got the power cord comes in here, and there's a wall board that goes into the socket. Here's your inputs from your turntable. Here's your ground wire connection, and here's your outputs. Now this is a like an upgraded model. It has a Toslink output on it as well, so you can connect it to an outboard DAC. I think they also make a coax SPDIF output as well, but this is the one I got. It has the Toslink. But it's not very heavy. It sounds like it's metal on the bottom, but it's a very interesting looking audio component. I'm going to connect the Puffin to my Linn turntable and show you what it can do. In this part coming up, I'm going to try to give you an idea of the features and capabilities of the Puffin. The first thing you can do on the menu is set the output volume. I just keep it set to 100. Second is gain, and you use this to best suit the moving magnet or moving coil cartridge or input source. Third is warmth, and what does warmth do? It's described as a kind of a tone control. It works at the 800 Hertz frequency, and it's kind of like a seesaw. Increasing it reduces brightness, turning up the warmth. Reducing it increases brightness, turns down the warmth. Number 4 is air, and air controls high frequencies above 8 kilohertz, and it's kind of like a treble control. You're also supposed to use it to fine-tune the sound of a moving coil cartridge. 5 is a straight treble control. It handles 3 kilohertz and above. 6 is a bass control, and that goes from 300 hertz down. bass boost adds a little boost at 100 Hertz. 8 is high frequency, and it's an adjustable filter that attenuates the high frequencies. 9, low, basically acts as an adjustable subsonic rumble filter. 10 is mode, and what you can do is switch from stereo to mono to just left or just right. Now, number 11 is called grade, and this feature is very interesting. You start it by, you start playing a record, and it grades it based on pops, clicks, surface noise, wear, etc. And it gives you a running grade of the record currently playing from grade A+ to F. Number 12 is magic, and it really is magic. It gently removes surface noise from your old records. It's not overly aggressive, and you'll still hear some of the louder pops and clicks. But a good amount of the lower level background noise is reduced. It's very cool. 13, FX, may be a little gimmicky. It actually adds some tube or analog tape distortion to the sound during playback. I'm not sure what I think about this, but you can definitely hear the difference, especially using the tube setting. 14 is derumble, and this is designed to minimize low frequency resonances by converting all stereo frequencies below 200 Hertz to mono. 15 is called room EQ, and this can reduce any kind of low frequency humps you have in your particular listening room. And 16. Oh geez, more features. Alright, are you getting the idea? This device is extremely versatile and flexible. Let me quickly list the remaining available settings, features, and tools to tweak your turntable's performance. You can set your cartridge load impedance. You can adjust left and right channel balance. You can change the phase. You can set the output from analog to digital to use an external DAC. You can change the equalizations from the standard RIAA curve to a variety of older EQs, or to go simple line in. You can connect your CD player, tape deck, or streamer to this baby if you want to add a little DSP magic to your sound. You can create a custom menu to reduce the number of items on this list. You can also set 4 different cartridge profiles to switch between them. It will log your stylus hours for you, and that's handy. And you can check the speed accuracy of your turntable. And with the use of a test record, it has tools to help check the azimuth of your cartridge and the anti-skating. I mean, it'll even do a sweep for you, frequency sweep. This device is just chock full of useful features. Parks Audio also has been providing free annual updates that you can install to add improvements and new features. Comparing it feature-wise to a conventional phono preamp at a similar price like the Parasound Z Phono XRM, we see that the Parasound can accommodate 2 turntables, which is good, and has balanced outputs. We can also fine-tune the moving coil load impedance using a knob on the back. It also has a non-adjustable rumble filter and a stereo mono switch on the front. Its transformer is built in rather than having a wall wart like the Puffin. With a conventional phono preamp like this, simply put, you choose the model that has the features you need and produces the sound that you like. It is what it is, as some people say. The Puffin is a game changer in my opinion. The sound can be tailored to your preference. Do you like a cooler, brighter tone, or a warmer, darker tone, or something more in between and neutral? The Puffin can accommodate you. Throw in all of the excellent tools, it's an amazing value. It's like a Swiss Army knife phono preamp. It's really ideal for a vinyl enthusiast who enjoys individually optimizing the sound of his records. I own a copy of the Patti Smith Group album Horses that is known to be an excessively sibilant pressing. And I found certain tracks to be almost unlistenable due to the grating sibilance when Patti Smith sings or speaks words with the letter S in them, and that's a lot. The excellent song Birdland is particularly irritating to me, but using the warmth and air settings in the Puffin, I was able to tame the sibilance and actually rendered it listenable. You may ask, how is the built-in Puffin DAC? Well, the analog to digital converter and the digital to analog converter are both made by Texas Instruments, and they sound good to me. I did connect the Puffin to a $99 shit Modi 3 DAC using a Toslink cable, and the Modi uses an AKM chip inside, and I didn't hear a huge difference between them. I did notice that the Modi 3 produced a warmer sound with a deeper, more defined bass, and the built-in DAC in the Puffin was more bright with more treble detail. I didn't try out my topping D70S DAC with it, but I would imagine it would sound noticeably better. This is an excellent device for an enthusiast who enjoys tweaking settings and optimizing his turntable performance. But it's also great for people who find the settings they enjoy and they can just set it and forget it. Okay, you're probably wondering, how does it actually sound? Well, it sounds like an excellent Phono preamp. There is absolutely no audible digital quality to its sound, and that I could detect. Its built-in DAC is 24 bits, 96 kilohertz, which is more than enough to handle an analog signal from a vinyl record. And I doubt that anyone would realize that they were listening to a digital device in the signal path unless somebody told them. The Puffin is built in the USA and has been available for a couple of years now, and can be currently purchased through Amazon for $489. Now, I don't have any info regarding the availability of the digital output versions or upgrade kits, but I suggest that you contact Parks Audio directly through their website. They have a great reputation for promptly responding to questions and helping out. In my opinion, this device is an insane value. I haven't been able to compare it directly with Phono preamps with much higher price tags, but I imagine it can challenge any Phono preamp on the market considering what you get for only $500. Parks Audio should be selling tens of thousands of these Puffins a week. I hope that they do. Now, if you're one of those analog purists, the idea of sending your turntable's analog signal into a digital device may be revolting to you. And I get it. That's just how you roll. But for the rest of you with more open minds, try to give it a try. Give it a try. It's pretty cool. I will post a link to their website below and provide an Amazon link as well where you can buy it. Now, I don't benefit at all if you buy one. I'm just huffing to get out the word about the Puffin.